Welcome to the inaugural episode of A Podcast Inspired. This episode will be focusing on New Year's resolutions, goal setting, and the goals we have bringing into 2024. Today, I'm here with Dolores Nada, and I'm Lyric Nicolini, and we're going to be talking about goal setting and the goals we bring into the new year. Now, Dolores is my mom, and so there's a lot we talk about for goals and goal setting, and my mom has always encouraged my goals, but she has a background in professional development and knows a lot about setting goals at a corporate level and at an institutional level. So we're going to talk about goals from all kinds of ranges. What do you want to bring to us today, Mom?
Well, I think first of all, I want to thank each and every person who comes and jumps on here and uses their time to listen to what we have to say. I think our focus is gonna be to have a fresh look at goal setting and just organization in general. But I feel like, we're gonna talk from the heart. It's gonna be real. I brought my lovely daughter in because I feel like I represent a baby boomer generation, and she represents a generation closer to most of the people who will be reaching out. I'm sure this is what I'm hoping that we get some younger generation in here because I had to learn all of this information over years and years of training and of working with others and of reading and researching. So I'm trying to give you the shortcut. And I'm excited to have my daughter as a sounding board and someone who can say, but what does that mean now? So I'm excited about sharing goal setting. I've taught many classes on this. We've made it a little bit more specific around time management. Let's just say one of my clients wanted their teams to be more focused on time management. So I'll go in and I'll do a training on that, or I'll do a training on uh, uh, project planning or focus or productivity, all of those terms. But I think everything starts with knowing what you need, what you do, and what you need. What are your habits and what are your areas of improvement? Because ultimately, my focus has been for the last 30 years is to help the business community and the teams in those communities be more productive and be more cohesive and work well together. And that's why I wrote my book, A Workplace Inspired, a workforce inspired in the workplace. So I feel like that's my focus, and I'm excited to get started. So one of the certifications I have is I'm a Tiny Habits coach, and Tiny Habits is a book by Dr. B.J. Foggs. It was a New York Times bestseller, and it talks about how small changes change everything. And BJ Foggs is a PhD, a doctor from Stanford University. He runs the behavioral lab there. And many years ago, I thought, you know what, I need to know more about that. So I'm always learning. And what I've learned, though, is in any time you want to change or improve your life, it really has to start from the core of who you are and what you want to be, and that you cannot waver from that. So know who you are and what you want to be. um, for those coaches out there, it's like bringing someone from where they are to where they need to be, and that gap, how do we fill that? So one of the things that I learned while working with Tiny Habits and becoming a certified coach for them was that Dr. Fogg talks about two maxims. That means like your core understanding. And the first maxim is that we should always help someone do something that they already want to do. It's not about convincing somebody that that organization is important or that goal setting is important. It's finding them where they are and then helping them to get to where they're going, as I said before. So we need to help individuals So those of you listening or watching, we need to talk about what you already want to do. That's maxim number one. And maxim number two is that we should never guilt or put down or say, shoulds, why haven't you, those kinds of things, for individuals who want to change. Because the second maxim is all about we change when we feel good, not when we feel bad. Right. So I liken it to like report cards, you know, um, or someone you admire saying something positive about you or uplifting you. You're going to remember those much more than you'll remember the F's on your report card or someone browbeating you or talking about, how wrong you are for thinking the way you do. So those are the two maxims that I was taught. Again, we should do what we already know we want to do, and two, we should all change will happen by feeling good, not by feeling bad about where you're at and where you need to be. So I'll stop there in case you have anything you want to add, Lyric.
Yeah, yeah. I just want to make this like a conversation about, habits and stuff like that. So I know that recently you went to a vision boarding exercise to talk about the new year, and I wanted to talk a little bit about New Year's goals in particular. Um, I always try and set a New Year's goal, and not they don't always happen. I mean, I know that's pretty common for a lot of people. But what were your vision boarding experiences like? What was your New Year's goal setting like?
Okay, well, first things first. What I use, I made another certification that I have a license to teach brain health, and I am a certified brain health trainer with Dr. Daniel Amen, who's an internationally known psychologist, therapist, and brain health expert. He is the creator of the SPEC scan. We could talk more about that in a minute, but what he always does with, or he encourages us to do with our clients, is to begin with a one-page miracle. It's called the one-page miracle, and it's all about what do I want and what am I doing to make it happen? So it's really accountability, but it's first discovery, right? And that's exactly what Dr. Fogg said too, is that, first you need to know what you need and what you want. So this exercise that he has that I do with all of my clients is really just a one sheet of paper, and you answer some of these questions in the four parts of your brain. Without getting into it too deeply, there's four areas of brain development that we need to focus on. So that's biological, psychological, social, and spiritual. So he's broken that up into four parts. And a lot of that, he's asking you, okay, what is it that you want to do in this area? So, for instance, biological, in brain health, how do you want to become stronger in your brain health? How about your physical health? Those are the two subcategories of biological. And then psychological, what would you like to do to become more emotionally healthy? And then what patterns are you following right now, or that are your patterns of thinking that may not be healthy, and how would you like to change them in the psychological realm? And then in the social realm, what do you want to happen with your partner or spouse, or maybe a good friend, if you're not in a romantic relationship, or with your children, how would you like that to be a better situation? Extended family and friends, we've spent a lot of time over the last month and a half where we are encouraged to meet with our families and our extended families and friends. And unfortunately, not all of those relationships are as strong as they need to be. So that's an area if you have a goal in that area. Or how about work or school? What are areas in our goals in that area that you'd like to work on? And then your finances, your money. How would you like to be more a better steward of your money, or your finances? And just so I could, as I said, this is going to be real. This is going to be heartfelt. I mean, I have areas and goals for every one of those areas so far, but the last one, and it's the reason why I think I decided to follow Dr. Amen, is that I believe that there is a spiritual element to all of us, and many times we forget that part because maybe we are told, health, your body, your mind, your outside relationships, but we don't talk enough about the spiritual. But there is a part of your brain that reacts to spiritual relationships. So Dr. Iman adds in his one-page miracle, spirituality. How do you feel in that area? Character. Your character. Would you like to improve on your character? How about passions in life, and then your community? So that's a spiritual aspect of your brain and of goal setting. So you can do this one-page miracle and then write down your goals for each subsection: biological, psychological, social, spiritual. And then what I'd like you to do is go through again and highlight maybe one out of the how many you put on that page that you want to start working on right away. Because someone told me yesterday, oh, you're going to eat the whole elephant, at once instead of taking it piece by piece. And I thought, wow, that's an impactful um, thought, because yeah, it's true. We want to do that. Come January, we want to do everything. We want it, but you know what? We have to start little by little. So to see success, because we don't react well to failure, right? But I see nothing as failure. Honestly, I just see when I don't uh, when I don't attain the goal that I was looking for. It's only because it's teaching me that I have to do something else still, or um, I recently saw a movie, the A Million Miles Away, the story of Jose Hernandez, who was our first Mexican American astronaut, and his father. They're farm laborers in the beginning of the story, and his father talked about little Jose was in the fields picking grapes, and he fell and he got full of mud, and he was just so frustrated. And so he came to his father and he said, I don't know how you do this. You've done this, and you keep doing it with a good attitude of, well, how do you do it, Papa? And he says that he had a recipe, and there was 5 ingredients to that recipe. So in my training, I actually share this, but one of the the fifth ingredient is, when you think you've made it, you might have to work a little harder. And that's how I see goal setting, really, is that sometimes we set these goals and they're not realistic, and it's about beating ourselves up if we don't make it. But you know what? Every step forward is making it. And yes, you might get to your goal and say, wait, my thing, whatever I was hoping for, didn't happen. Well, we might have to work harder, and then we move forward. So I think that's kind of a summary of the one-page miracle. And I'd like all those who are listening to this podcast to maybe email me, or somehow get in contact with me. I have a web page. You can send me a message there, and I will send you the one-page miracle.
Great. Yeah. So we do have an email for this podcast. The podcast email is a podcastinspired@gmail.com. There you can also send any questions you have. And we also want to start a segment where, my mother has particular expertise in working through workplace difficulties. So if you're encountering something in your workplace, maybe a difficult relationship or an unhealthy dynamic, writing in and we can talk about it on the air and maybe address your problem and see, what else we can help you with is something you can do at that email address. Again, it's a podcast inspired at gmail.com.
Thank you.
All right, so let's get a little personal now. We both have New Year's goals that we've set. My mother has based hers off the one page miracle, and I just wanted to get a little bit real and share some of those goals with everyone today. So I can start. One of my goals is to every single day walk for 1 25-minute walk just because when I devote at least that much time to being out in the fresh air and, getting my heart rate up, I just feel a lot better, have more energy, stuff like that. So that's one of my goals. What about you, Mom?
Well, so one of my goals is to being real. I am a diabetic, and I have been for about 15 years. And every year, I feel like I get better and better at handling this, but I'm still not there. So I want to reverse the diabetes. You know, the longer you have it, the harder it becomes. And real personal, I have family members who have lost limbs, who have lost their life due to uncontrolled diabetes, type 2 diabetes. Type 1, I'm not talking about. I don't know much about type 1. I know it's genetic, but I focus on the type 2 that we have over our lifestyle has we've succumb to it because of things we don't do for ourselves. So that's my number one goal. Honestly, it's been for the last few years already, and every year I feel like I'm getting better. I know more, and I heard something yesterday. Someone said if you really want to reach your goal, January 1st, everybody has goals. But by January 31st, 50% of those goals have been thrown out the window. But if you want to have a goal, and like I said, you go through the one page miracle, you pick out your top three, and you start working on those and you work a plan. Key to that is sharing it with someone. Key to stability and sustainability throughout the year is sharing it with someone. So share it with us. We're sharing it with you. My goal is that by my birthday in June, I would like to have brought down my A1C, which for those of you who don't know what that is, it's a blood test you take every 3 months. So to determine how extreme your diabetes is. So I would like to bring that down into the fives, 5.9, and that's very close to the normal range, but that's with medication. So eventually it'll be without medication. So, it's a huge goal. And unfortunately, what we're hearing now from the Diabetic Association is that type 2 diabetes, there's type 1, that's biological or hereditary, and 2 is from your outside lifestyle and things you do. 3, there's type 3 now, and what they're calling that is they're calling Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes, because those who have been under a state of diabetes type 2 for a long period of time and it's not controlled tend to develop dementia and Alzheimer's at the end of their age, so, or at the tail end of their life. And there's the correlation with that, and I could totally bring some stats on that. In fact, I'll write them down in case we talk about that. So that's my number one goal. Well, if you really want to know, my number one goal is to draw closer to God. I'm a very spiritual person. But I believe in drawing closer to God and working on my health. And then I think everything else will fall into place. So those are my goals.
That's great. I'm so glad that we were able to share those with each other. Another great thing you can do is my mom has a page on Facebook called her Sabor membership. It is a community of individuals who are working towards goals together that you can join. We'll post the link in the description to join the Sabor Facebook group if you're looking for support with goal setting and achieving your goals and being, just surrounded with like minded individuals who are looking to grow and support one another on their journeys.
Yeah, it's called Health and Wellness con Sabor. So con sabor, for those of you who don't know Spanish, it's with flavor. Sabor is flavor. And my whole reason for doing that is so many people have said, I can't watch my what I eat because all they want to feed me is, cardboard tasting food or food that just, out of a box or frozen or I want to eat my food from my culture. And many times it's not as healthy as it needs to be. So the reason I put that out is because I wanted to make sure that we encouraged individuals to send in recipes that were tasty, but didn't have to be so bad for our lifestyle, especially those who are suffering from diabetes. So that's why come on over. You'd have to request it because it is a private page, but I have a pretty good following. Don't ask for any money. Everybody just supports one another, and it's a beautiful thing. So I welcome you all.
Speaking of recipes, another thing we're gonna try and do is record some short, like TikTok short form videos that will be my mom trying out different recipes. So if you have something you've seen on the internet that you want to try out, but you're like, This can't possibly be good," send it our way, post it in the Facebook group, send it to our email, a podcastinspired@gmail.com, and we will try them out. We will try the recipes and let you know the real facts and if it's worth it and if it's worth it with the effort or if it tastes good because my mama knows good food.
I just did a tamale making class, a cooking class, and we tried to do it a little differently because tamales come around for the Latino community once a year. I don't know. You may be someone who eats it more often, but generally, a Christmas is a time where women or anybody gets together. Tamaleras is what it's called, and we sit around and we just put the masa on the corn husks and we talk, and it's a time that lots of people look forward to. So I just wanted to share that every month I'm going to try to do something. So January will be my albondiga soup, which is a meatball soup, and I know we could do it really high carb, or we could do it low carb and higher vegetables with different meats. And so that's what we're going to do. Is I want to do a class on albondiga soup with my neighbors here. I'll try it once and then I'll talk to my beautiful daughter that maybe we can film that as well.
Well, I think that's going to wrap us up for today. Thank you so much for coming to talk with us today at a podcast inspired. I'm Lyric Nicolini and I'm here with my mom, Dolores Nada. And we are so happy that you joined us. And we look forward to speaking with you again with more goals and more things to talk about this year in 2024.
Have a blessed and wonderful 2024. Bye bye.